What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Ted Jones World Podcast, episode 189 here. It's crazy how dirty this table gets, like, every single time I do an episode. I guess, like, glass table, it just, like, collects a ton of dust. So, like, no joke, I find myself at least once a week on this table scrubbing it down. What is up, guys? We have the Ted Jones Comedy Show on Monday. Check the link in this YouTube description, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you're listening to this podcast to. I always appreciate it, guys. So I want to start off this episode just with, like, I've been in a little bit of my feelings recently. I think this started initially when I was probably in college. This is like sophomore year in college. And sometimes I just refuse to believe what people show me, what people show me about their character, whatever it may be. I just want to come on here and let you guys know that when somebody shows you who they are, you got to believe them. You got to believe them. I don't mean to get so deep here, but I think in general, it speaks a lot to just the character of a person. When somebody shows you who they are, you got to believe them. You know, fool me once, shame on that particular person. Fool me twice, shame on me itself. You know, whether that's people talking shit, people doing weird stuff on social media, whatever it is. You know, I don't mean to make a big deal out of Instagram things, Twitter things, whatever it is. But, like, I think we are in a time in terms of, like, civilization where, you know, these social media apps do really mean a lot to people in general, to myself, obviously. But, like, I don't know, there's just a lot of power in ignoring someone, maybe reading something, not responding, whatever it may be, unfollowing. But, guys, just reminding you here that when somebody shows you who they are once, twice, even three times, even three chances, you got to believe what they're saying. And if they are somehow removed from your life, it's because God heard them talking behind closed doors and you don't want to be associated with them anymore. But anyways, guys, off to a lighter note, I was just talking about how in college I had an ex-girlfriend who was just so terrible to me. You know, and, like, obviously I have forgiven her since then, but I think in general, you know, when it's time number 5, time number 6, you just eventually got to listen. You got to see, you know, how you can really kind of deal with this person in terms of them not being around anymore. So, but when somebody shows you who they are, listen to them. Okay, I don't know who needs to hear this. I guess for the most part, you know, I have had to hear this multiple times. I didn't really learn this until, I guess, recently. In the past 6 months, I'm not sure if you guys fully know, but I worked for my dad's company for about 5 months, and it's been so crazy. Excuse me, I worked for my dad's company for 5.5 years, and then, like, the last 5 months, it's crazy just to see how some people have, like, switched up and stuff on me. Like, I have done nothing different in the past 5.5, 6 months to any of these particular people or whatever it is besides change my career, change my profession. I don't know if that's aggravating demons in their own life, whatever it is, but you're never going to be put down by somebody who's doing better than you. I also want you guys to remember that. You know, these are thoughts that I'm just having in my head, so I'm spewing them to you. And if you don't like listening to something, don't listen to it. If you don't like looking at something, don't look at it. But it's just interesting. When you start doing things that are really great from yourself, you're going to start having people kind of fall off left and right. Even if you think you were close with them maybe once before, it's a different time. Like, it's crazy to see how much in my life has changed, like how far I believe I've come since working, you know, at a company that I really did not want to work at. You know, I was not happy for a number of years. Like right before the pandemic, I was thinking about moving on from my dad's company, but then the pandemic hit, so my tenure at my dad's company actually lasted like an extra year. I didn't intend for it to last an extra year, but it did. And everything was cool in terms of what was going on outside of my life, right? Like all the people who I had known for 10 years, 8 years, everything was fine, everything was great. And then once I started doing what was best for me and what made me the most happy, it's interesting to see who falls off, who falls by the side, you know? So if somebody if God or the universe, whatever, removes somebody from your life, let them freaking go. Okay, guys? Let them freaking go. So let's actually talk a little bit about some serious news. I rarely get serious on this podcast, so we'll go back to back serious. I was watching this little piece on BBC about the potential Cold War that could be brewing. So listen closely. So the China Communism Party communistic. I wonder how I could say that was insane that I just said that. Communist Party. Guys, that didn't make any sense. China is going to be potentially taking over Taiwan and bringing it back into the communist China. So if China starts like a war with Taiwan, Joe Biden has said that the U.S. would come to the defense of Taiwan. And then also besides that, Australia would also come to the defense of Taiwan. So this could lead to a number of things that are not great in the world. Like we could have a Cold War with China where China refuses to trade with us. We could have instances like in World War II, Pearl Harbor. I don't know. There are a lot of bad things that can happen. And obviously, I hate talking about bad things. I always love to be positive. But it was just an interesting piece to see that if China tries to take over Taiwan and include them again in their communist government, it's going to be an issue. Are the U.S. and China going to go to war? I mean, China and Australia right now do not have a great relationship. But like in general, some weird stuff going on in China. How much can I really even say here on the podcast about China? I don't know. We had a tennis player who was seeing a government official, and like now she's been missing for a couple months, but she just came out with a statement. I actually want to read this to you guys. If you have not heard about this, it's been in the news a lot recently. But hold on, let me just read one of the articles here. I just want to touch on this. So this is the headline of the article: Why China Can't Bury Peng Shuai and its #MeToo scandal. Accustomed to forcing messages on audience at home and abroad, its propaganda machine hasn't learned how to craft a narrative that stands up to scrutiny. So the Chinese government has become extremely effective in controlling what the country's 1.4 billion people think and talk about. So thank God I live in the United States and I'm allowed to talk about kind of whatever the shit I want, in terms of not being canceled. I mean, I'm not saying anything controversial here, but it's just crazy to think that like a tennis star, a woman who was, no joke, top 20 in the world, was sexually assaulted by a former vice premier of the government in China. And like now she just has not been heard from in a few months. Like she came out and put a message out. She's like, guys, I'm fine. But like it looked pretty sketchy in terms of like what she was coming out and saying about the government. She was like, yeah, I'm fine. But like it's clear that she has not been fine. China's such a powerful government, having maybe the lion's share of people in the entire world. I don't know if that's fully a fact, but like China having around 1.4 billion people, like I just said, in a communist society, it's scary to think. China has a lot of power in the entire world. You guys look at a lot of pens, pencils, a lot of just shit in general is made in China. Like, why can't we focus on making things in the United States? The United States being a democratic society, Taiwan that way as well. So, I don't know, a lot of scary stuff potentially on the horizon, in terms of like doomsday. Like if China came in and started a war with the U.S., like what would that even look like? Australia with their COVID regulations, the United States. I'm so happy to live in the United States. If you're listening to this and you live in the United States, guys, it really is a blessing to be living here. You can say whatever the shit you want to say as long as it's, politically correct, which I feel like I'm saying right now. And I think in general, we're going to move away towards listening to governments over the next few years. You guys come back to what I am saying in a year from now. So I am talking about November 23rd, 2022. You guys come back to this particular podcast, and I'm talking about cryptocurrencies. Like China is very against Bitcoin, but the Bitcoin train is moving. It really is moving. And I think seeing El Salvador being the full country to really change their government balance and put Bitcoin on their government balance. Is El Salvador going to be the new rich country in 10 years? It has a good chance to be a very, very wealthy country in terms of this digital currency. I want to just, I've talked about Bitcoin before, and obviously this is not financial advice, but I think in terms of seeing it as the whole here, let me see if I can explain this in simple terms, guys. We have everything now at the touch of a button, right? Like, let's say I'm hungry right now. I want lunch. I order Uber Eats. It's here in 30 minutes. A guy delivers it. Okay. I want to Venmo one of my friends who I owe money to, whatever, $20. I send it Venmo. Boom, it hits his account. Why does it take so long for me to take money out of my Schwab account? This happened, actually. This is not even a joke, this timing. Monday night, I made a trade to cash out some money out of my Schwab account, and I was not able to get out the money until Friday afternoon. So over 72 hours it took for me to get my own money out of my own account. That does not make any sense, especially with everything moving so fast. Pop, 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 as I snap here on the podcast. Everything is moving fast. It doesn't make any sense that cryptocurrency won't be the future. Think about driving Ubers without drivers in it, right? Like, Ubers are going to go to charging stations by themselves. They're going to be able to pay in cryptocurrency to those particular charging stations. Money is just moving so slow, and government has such a power and control over money. Do we really want the government to have this much power and control over us in terms of our money? We're just at the forefront of it. I mean, we're in year 11 of Bitcoin, right? I guess almost year 12 of Bitcoin. But people don't want the government to control the money so much. Like, think about how much money the government is taking in taxes from us per year. It's crazy. You know, like the fees, how slow it is. I can order a sandwich to my apartment in 30 minutes, but I can't get my money out of the bank until 96 hours, my brokerage account. And if I leave whatever it is, if I leave $1,000 in my Chase account for a year, first of all, they are lending out like 95% of my money. So if 3 to 5% of all of us wanted to take out our money right now, that wouldn't be possible out of our Chase account. I mean, that's a fact. So with this digital money, digital currency, it's more privacy. Yeah, you guys would say like, oh, it's made for the criminals, so you can't see whose money is who. But like with these transactions and how fast you're going to be able to do them with cryptocurrency, this paper money, it's worthless. Think about how much you could buy with $1 in 1913. You can buy like 4 dozen eggs, 5 loaves of bread. Like, how much does $1 get you now? 108 years later. Doesn't get you shit. And every day it's just losing value. You keep it in your Chase account for 30 years, you're going to have $30. Your money's going to accrue $30 in 30 years. So saving money, it's just not the thing anymore. It's not a valid thing. Like, yes, obviously you need to pay your credit card bill each month, whatever. You keep $1,000, $2,000 in your account. But, I mean, cryptocurrency, when people are going to be, it's machine-to-machine transaction, they're not going to be able to use the U.S. dollar. You know? They're going to be using Bitcoin or using some form of cryptocurrency. Metaverse, Facebook, NFTs, all these things are on the forefront, and I understand it's scary. Yes, there's a lot of dips and volatility, but eventually I think it'll be at a point where you can get loans based on how much Bitcoin you have, how much cryptocurrency you have. Let's say you want to buy a house, you want to buy $1 million house. You're not going to use cash anymore. People are just going to give you a loan based on how much Bitcoin is worth, how much Bitcoin is in your account. The future is digital, guys. The future is digital. I think you're going to hear a lot more people on podcasts, vlogs, really leaning in towards it. And like listening to your parents when you're talking about financial advice, yeah, it's great. But like the world is not the same as it was before Bitcoin or in 2005 when you're investing in the S&P 500. Yes, to date, the S&P 500 has been 28%, but you've heard financial analysts talk about how it's a bubble, whatever it is. One main huge thing that happened, Odell Beckham Jr., bro, I praise you for doing this. Odell Beckham Jr., for those of you who don't know, playing for the Los Angeles Rams, taking his whole salary in Bitcoin. I mean, this is going to be crazy. Crazy. The guy can double, triple his salary over the next few years. We'll see. And like obviously other athletes taking some portion, some part of their money, salary in Bitcoin. You see the mayor of Miami taking some of his salary in New York. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, taking some of his salary in Bitcoin, also going vegan. Am I preaching to like? Guys, let me know what you think. TedJonesWorld@gmail.com. I just think that the internet allows you to share pictures. The internet allows you to share pictures, texts, whatever it is, articles in seconds. Yet it takes 4 days for an international wire to hit. Make a trade on Monday. It doesn't settle till Friday. Come on. Cars, places, storage centers. A lot less humans are being involved. AI is here to stay. Autonomous driving vehicles, I think, is going to be a big one. And I think that this is something to look at. When there is a robot taking you from, let's say we're talking in terms of Manhattan, taking you from 15th Street to 45th Street, I think it's just going to be you are on your phone, on the Uber. You call the Uber comes to your apartment and then takes you to wherever you want to go. And then after that, it's going to need to charge, right? So that car is like, oh, okay, I see that I only have 42 miles left on my electric gauge. So now I'm going to go to these unmanned charging stations, juice up, and pay with some form of cryptocurrency. How would electric cars survive if there's not unmanned electric stations? So these jobs that are taking people hours to do when it's just the same thing over and over and over again, it's going to be taken over by computers. This is a scary truth. And obviously this is not financial advice, guys, but I'm just going with what I'm seeing. If somebody wanted to give me $20 right now, just random, if somebody wanted to give me $20 right now or $20 in Bitcoin, I'm going to take the $20 in Bitcoin. Money tomorrow in Bitcoin is worth more than money today in cash. I think that was pretty deep what I just said there. And also your $20 tomorrow is worth less than it is today. Is your $20 in Bitcoin tomorrow worth less than it is today? Probably not. I mean, yes, there's volatility in Bitcoin, volatility in crypto, obviously, but we're at the baby stages. Think about what happened with the gold standard when we had it in 1913 initially, when we were comparing the dollar to the gold. We're printing money based on gold that we don't have. 40% of all the money in circulation has been printed in the last 18 months. Hold the freaking phone. That's something to look into. Yet stocks are still flying. The S&P's at 28%. I don't know. Guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who is noticing trends. That's literally all I am. I've spoken about the Shiba Inu coin on here. Is that a shit meme coin? Maybe. I don't know. But if it shoots up 10,000%, call me a genius. So after you listen to this podcast, look up Michael Saylor. See what this gentleman has to say about Bitcoin. I think he's very informed. Talks about currency and how when there's a limited supply of currency, it's worth more. If there was a limited supply of gold, it'd be worth more. But people are finding gold every day, huh? They're printing money every day. People are not adding new Bitcoins to the circulation every day. There's only 21 million. You can't make any more. So these things that we can consistently just make and whatever it is and just add value, I don't see in the long term how that's going to make any sense. And we've seen with inflation, $1,000 does not buy you what it did 10 years ago. Think about that. I do think Odell Beckham Jr. being one of the athletes on the forefront of this, great job, man. I really think that that's a great move. The guy's going to be a billionaire. You guys listen back to this, in 5 years, or if you're listening to this and it's and it's November 23rd, 2022, I bet I'm right. I bet I'm right that Odell made a great decision taking his paycheck in Bitcoin. If you got a lot of money coming in and you have the opportunity to take your paycheck in Bitcoin, do it. Why not? Do it. You guys watching any TV recently? Let's talk something about a little bit lighter. Tiger King. It was okay. I loved the first season of Tiger King. How about you guys? This season, a little bit slow. I just finished it up. It's just like Joe Exotic in jail bitching about Carol Baskin and Joe Love, Jeff Lowe, all this bullshit. That's what he's saying. All this bullshit about people out to get him. He was not a good guy in general, and that's why he's in jail. Should he be in jail for 22 years? I don't know. But, bro, you can't be on TV. You can't be potentially hiring hitman to go kill someone and, like, think you're completely innocent. There are obviously a lot of bad eggs in the tiger industry or animal industry. Let them free. No more eating animals. No more holding animals in captivity. The future is coming. Guys, also, next Thursday, December 2nd, 7 p.m., I'm opening for Hannah Berner at the Stress Factory in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I cannot wait. Any of my friends who went to UConn, who are in the greater Bridgeport area, would love to see you guys out there. Check the link at hannahberner.com. Again, that's December 2nd, 7 p.m., or check the Stress Factory website online. You guys can find tickets there, and I would love to see you there. I'll probably be doing anywhere from like 10 to 15 minutes, but I'm excited to check that club out because I know a lot of people that have done it, and they say it's great, so I'm super looking forward to that. What else do I have for you guys? Today was more of like a serious episode, more of like a how I'm feeling episode. And if you guys have any thoughts on anything that I'm saying here, you don't agree with me, I would absolutely love to hear from you. TedJonesWorld@gmail.com. We can have a somewhat educated conversation because, hey, I am not a financial analyst. I'm not a Bitcoin mule. I'm just noticing trends. I'm noticing trends. It's not about recycling anymore. It's not about not using a straw in your coffee. It's about not eating fish. You know, you're thinking, oh, I want to recycle so there's no plastic in the oceans, and then the fish are eating the plastic. No, just don't eat fish. You want to help contribute to climate change? Listen to Greta Thunberg. I believe she's a vegan. She should be. That'd be messed up if she isn't. Let's see. Greta Thunberg. Vegano. And props to the people who have been vegan like over 5 years. Because only within like the last 2.5, 3 years, veganism has been like way more easy to do. You know, you used to always just have to eat like lettuce and shit. Of course, 18-year-old environmentalist and climate activist Greta Thunberg chooses to follow a vegan diet. Her father even switched to veganism in support of his daughter's passion for climate change. What a nice dad. What a nice dad. Thank you so much for listening and hearing me. You know, just put it all on the table, guys. And if you're still chasing after that girl that's not giving you any attention, still chasing after that guy, let them go. They're not for you. The universe has something better in store. I really do promise you that. I do promise you that. Somebody shows you who you are, believe them. Okay? No listener email, no listener DM today. I want you guys to focus on what I was saying. Buy some Bitcoin. Download Coinbase on your phone. If you have $100 to lose, put it in. Okay? Instead of investing that into Apple, let's invest it into Bitcoin. Turn that $100 into, I don't know, 175, 200 in 1 year. So, as I will leave you guys here, if you're listening to this on November 23rd, 2022, DM me, message me, email me, let me know if I'm right. We'll see you guys for episode 190. Peace.